Buenas noches. This evening I'm going to speak to you in English to make sure that everybody understands and is familiar with noun clauses. So you're here on the blog and you are probably watching this video within the blog. So underneath it, you're going to find this link. Obviously the video is not there yet because I haven't finished it. So click here on this link that says subjunctive and noun clauses. That will open up this Word document right here, and this is where we're going to take notes today. So I'm going to go step by step about what are the different things you need to know about subjunctive, and how do we do subjunctive, and then talk about a little bit about noun clauses and weirdo, which is what helps us remember the noun clauses. So step one is conjugation. So let's talk about how we conjugate in the subjunctive. So I'm going to do this step by step because I think that's the easiest way to do it. Step one, we start with the yo form of the present tense. Step two, you need to remove the o. And step three, add the opposite ending. By opposite, what do I mean? I mean, for an AR verb, you're going to do E, ES, another E, EMOS, ACE, and N. For IR verbs and ER verbs, you're going to do A, AS, AMOS, ICE, and ON. So those are the opposite endings. So let's do one for an example. So I always do hablar as an example. So hablar, my yo form is hablo. Let me get rid of my O. That gives me HLB. And then if I'm going to add my endings, that would be hable, hables, hable, hablemos, hables, and hablen. And those are all the subjunctive conjugations of the verb hablar. Let's look at another word that maybe is different in the yo form. A good example of that one would be hacer. My yo form of hacer is hago. So then my stem for the subjunctive is HAG. And then I'm going to add my opposite endings. It's an ER verb, so now we know that the endings should be these endings right here. So haga, hagas, haga, hagamos, hagáis, and hagan are your conjugations. Now, it also applies to verbs that are stem changers in the yo form. So we've got a verb like, let's see here, pensar. Pienso is the yo form. So my stem is P-I-E-N-S, and then I need to add my endings. It's an AR verb, so it's going to be the E ending. So piense, pienses, piense, piense. Oh, this is where I just made a mistake. Okay, so these are just like in the indicative. They're boot verbs. So it's pensemos, penséis, piensen. So just like in the indicative, when we have a stem changer, we still do not stem change in the nosotros. In the nosotros form. And we also don't stem change in the vosotros form. So stem changers that stem change in the indicative also stem change in the subjunctive, and they do not stem change in nosotros or vosotros, just like the indicative. What about irregulars? Do we have any irregulars? And the answer to that question is yes, we do have a couple of irregulars. Those irregulars, I like to remember them with the acronym SIDES. S stands for ser. I stands for ear. D stands for dar. E stands for estar. And the last S stands for saber. So what are my conjugations for these? Now remember I told you to start with the yo form of the verb and drop the O. Ser, ear, dar, estar, and saber are all really irregular in the yo form. None of them end in an O, and that's why they're irregular in the subjunctive. So for ser, our conjugations are sea, seas, sea, seamos, seáis, and sean. Ear is vaya, vayas, vaya, vayamos, vayáis, and vayan. Dar, we have de with an accent because without it would mean of, des, de, demos, oops, des, and den. Estar looks a lot like it does normally. Esté, estés, esté, estemos, no accent on that one. Estés, estén. And finally, saber, the super, super, super irregular, sepa. Sepas, sepa. Sepamos, sepais, and sepan. So all of these are a little bit irregular. Or not a little bit, but completely irregular because of their yo forms being irregular as well. Can we think of any other areas where we may have a difference in spelling? I can think of verbs like car, guard, and zar verbs. Cargar and zar verbs, like practicar, when I put it in the yo form, is practico. Subtract my O, and then I'm going to add the opposite endings. But if I add an E to this, it'd be practice, and I don't want it to be practice. So just like this, the preterite, we're going to use QU. So que, ques, que, quemos, case, and ken. So practique, practiques, practique, practiquemos, practiques, practiquen. Gar is the same way. We need to make the GUE endings in order to maintain the correct pronunciation. And zar, we do a CE ending to maintain those correct pronunciations. So se, semos, seis, sen. And this one is ges, ge, gemos, ges. Oops, I forgot my I, and gen. Some verbs that are gar, llegar, jugar. Some zard verbs, almorzar, empezar. And just to see an example for jugar would be juegue, juegues, juegue, etc. Empezar would be empiece, empieces, empiece, etc. Now, these are both stem changers, so when we get to that nosotros form, it's juguemos, jugues, and then back to the stem change, jueguen. Empecemos, empeces, and empiecen. So that's a quick overview of how we conjugate in the subjunctive.